Joining me now is my panel for this Friday. Susan Page, Washington Bureau Chief of USA Today. Navin Nayak, the Executive Director at the Center for American Progress. And Matt Gorman, Republican strategist and former Communications Director for the SEC. Well, I'm not going to Susan first. That's,
hey, what did I do?
All right, Lubsdorff, I'm blaming you for this interruption because, all right, I do want you to have the first word here because I feel like I've seen everything in politics, and you've seen more than I've seen. Look, we know we're in uncharted waters. How uncharted?
Yeah.
How choppy is this going to get?
Totally. It's uncharted waters does not adequately describe where we are now. I'm sorry. And we don't know where we're going. You know, we don't know how strong the indictment will be. We don't know if he faces additional indictments on the other investigations. We do know what his stance is going to be. It's going to be defiant.
Yeah.
He's going to push back, and that's likely to help him with his base, and it's going to undercut him in a general
We're going to
election.
refill that water here in a minute. Let me give you a second. Matt Gorman, is this one of those moments this changes everything, or does this change what?
In the short term, he's going to raise a lot of money, and that'll allow him to do more rallies. But look, I think it's the same as it was in this respect. This will be a relatively holding pattern. I don't think anybody's not going to run for president that wasn't planning on running before or vice versa. I think this will make you, over the summer, you lay the foundation, you go to the early states, you get the support you need on the ground level, and then the debates, which I think it always was going to be. It's going to be Trump and DeSantis. Does somebody else have a moment? That is still the operating theory.
Yeah. What does this do to debt limit? What does this do to Washington in 2023?
What debt limit?
Yeah, I know.
Here's who gets to decide. I think at some level this becomes irrelevant if he's not relevant politically. And I think the party continues to prop him up and make him relevant. Because, as you pointed out at the start, other countries, other democracies have indicted former presidents. It's actually a sign that your democracy is working because in a democracy, no one's supposed to be above the law. And if someone committed crimes, they should be held accountable. And that actually should be a good moment for this country because we've had a lot of moments where we've pushed the boundaries and nothing's happened, not only in politics, but in other aspects. They keep propping him up. If he was just a former president and irrelevant politically, it wouldn't matter.
And I guess that's the question I have. I buy this at short term, Susan. This is going to help him. I just don't know what the weight of indictments, plural, suddenly become on him.
Is it cumulative? And so that people are unwilling to accept that everybody in the legal system is out to get him for political reasons. And we think if there are indictments in Georgia and from the special counsel, we think they will be stronger cases about more serious crimes than this one in New York. I'm not sure it shakes his core supporters. I think it makes it all but impossible for him to win a general election. I think it makes it hard for Republicans to challenge him in the primaries. And it makes it impossible for him to win a general election.
It feels like a checkmate like this. I don't know what Republicans do. Matt, what does a campaign against Donald Trump look like in this environment?
I think a couple.
In the Republican primary.
I think a couple things. I think, I really do believe whether it's Glenn Youngkin, Ted Cruz, Mike Pence, they all truly believe it's a travesty. It is some political kind of prosecution for one extent or another. So I think you go on a debate stage, you're not going to necessarily win a primary or really attack him on this because I think they're all fairly agreed on how they view this. So it will leave space for other issues. And look, I think whether it was before this or after this, I've said repeatedly, there's no deus ex machina here. You want to defeat Trump in a primary, you do it at the ballot box. And how does that shake out? We'll see. But that is still the way here it was last week, it is this week.
What's the trap for Biden on this? Because there's a part of me that thinks he should have been more outspoken today in this respect. It's a sad day for America. Hard stop. Doesn't matter what you think. But they're not going to engage at all, and I get that. But there's a whole bunch of people in the middle that are just nervous and exhausted. How does he talk to them without wading in?
I guess so. I mean,
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong here, but there's something here. This is unsettling.
We know who this man was. He led an insurrection. That was the saddest day when he was still sitting in the White House. So I actually do think until we cut him loose, and the country has now rejected him. He's lost the popular vote twice. Clearly, the American people don't want him to be president. And I think it is incumbent on the Republican Party to decide that they want to. And this is my hope. Not I don't know the Republican Party, but someone has to actually take him on for his crimes. I think we had that moment January 7th, January 8th, where it looked like people were like, "Whoa, you crossed the line. You shouldn't attack a country and foment an insurrection." They all came back. And I worry he's going to be indicted multiple times. And instead of actually upholding the rule of law, they're all not quietly attacking Democrats.
My theory on this, Susan, is I would be, if I were in the DeSantis shoes, who, by the way, needs a timeout badly, take advantage of it. And be like, you know what? Let him shadow box with these prosecutors all on his own. Go crazy. I'm not getting in this race till the fall.
Well, if it gets so that Trump just seems totally beleaguered and unacceptable, and
right, let him fight himself out,
that's good for
punch
DeSantis,
himself
but
out.
that's kind of not the history of how Trump comes across, even when he's in his most beleaguered state. And as for Biden, it seems to me he's smart not to talk about this. Why doesn't he talk about the things that people actually worry about, like going to Mississippi and talking to people who've had tornado damage, or dealing with some of the issues? I think it's smart for him to look like he's governing about the issues that really matter to Americans, not engaging on this sideshow. Yeah.
Matt, why doesn't the argument work with Republican voters that's this? We love what you did for the party. We love how you've changed the course of the Republican Party. But at the end of the day, he can't win. And if he can't win, what's the point? How come that messaging doesn't seem to work with his supporters? Or why do you think it hasn't worked yet?
I think it's March 31st.
You think it could
the off year? Look, I think you're going to hear some form of that among quite a few people on a possible debate stage, right? And I think electability, I don't think is the right word, because I think it's been
Democrats clearly cared about electability in 2020, right? They decided. I agree.
I'm saying the
Republicans
term.
do. Yeah.
I'm saying the term. I think what you say is winning in terms of winning the electorate, winning over voters, but also winning over Congress. Like you want to be able to do something, right? So you make winning broader than just 270 electoral votes. How do you make it cultural? How do you make it legislative impact? And that's what you look at successful governors. You're able to do that. Bush and others, when they were able to talk about that.
Go ahead, Navin.
I was going to say, I feel like this is deja vu all over again. Everyone thought Trump would hang himself. Everyone thought Trump would, and we're seeing it again. And if the Republican Party wants to be relevant, they're a minority party. They continue to struggle. They haven't gotten 50% of the vote in a national election, in presidential election for 4 elections now. They have got to be serious about taking on the man who's hijacked their party. And no one seems. I mean, Asa Hutchinson put out a statement yesterday, but
he's about the only one that seems to not have taken a posture here on the indictment. Susan, I was thinking about something when watching Kevin McCarthy not just say he supports the president, but that the House Republicans would use their majority to get to sort of investigate Bragg. The first thing I actually thought of was, so how does this fit the debt ceiling debate, the conversation? How does this impact negotiations? This is going to be happening. Well, the atmospherics are over here. And Republicans, some of the best known on the House Republicans, are more focused on defending Trump. I don't think they have the stomach for the debt ceiling fight that others may have. I just feel like the House Republicans they're not in a very strong place here right now for those things. Has Trump just sort of basically knocked that out?
There's only one issue in the Republican Party, and that's Trump.
Yeah.
And are you for him or against him? And almost all the Republicans who speak out are with him.
Yeah. No, I do think that is one thing that maybe a showdown or a dog that doesn't bark. Anyway, Susan, Navin, and Matt, thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.